Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum and a very good evening. Hi, welcome back. We are now in the closing ceremony for MAHSA International Sustainable Infrastructure Technology and Environment Conference, MySite 2021. I believe that all participants have presented their papers. Now, without further ado, we proceed with the evening closing remarks. This closing remarks is going to be delivered by Yang Berbahagia, Professor Kesava Alla, the Senior Director of MAHSA University. So without further ado, I would like to invite Professor Kesava Alla to deliver his speech. With all respect, please welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Noor Farahain and the entire faculty of Built Environment for inviting me to this conference, which is on global green technology and the sustainability. I'm very pleased to be here today on behalf of the Dr. Peter Gombera, who unfortunately couldn't make it due to his traveling. He's traveling back to office, and then he couldn't make it. But anyway, he conveyed his best wishes for the conference. He's one of the leading land security quantity surveyor in UK, and he's working from past 2 decades in the similar field. It is he accepted when we invited him, but unfortunately couldn't join today. But we move on with the closing ceremony today, and I'm very pleased that when the faculty choose the topic for this conference, sustainability and green technology. Actually, green technology is something very close to me, as my PhD the way back when I did was on green computing. There are many more facts that when we do come across about the sustainability and the green technology that we know. One of such experiment was when I came to know, when I started my research, I found out that we used to send emails and text messages, WhatsApp messages. We think that this costs nothing to us, and then it's free of cost because WhatsApp is free. I mean, as long as we connect it through Wi-Fi, we keep sending to multiple recipients. Same thing goes with email, because email we don't even look back on the email. But how many of us knows that every email we send release 4 grams of carbon into the atmosphere, which is again causing the now it is again causing the causing the damage to the entire environment. All right. So how many emails every CC copy and BCC copy that we add is releasing into the atmosphere a carbon of 4 grams of carbon will be released to the atmosphere. Same thing when it comes to the construction. The materials that we use for the construction, we have to make sure that we are using all green technology related materials, because we know that plastics that are taking a lot of the recycling is too long time. All right, and then that makes our environment also pay for this trouble. And someone is texted me, the Sharon, Dr. Peter is here, is it?
Caught up in a breakfast meeting.
Hi, Peter, you managed to make it. Thank you very much. Nice to see you.
Yeah, you too. You too.
Yeah, our guys are waiting, but since I thought you're not going to make it, and then I'm wondering, what's going on. Thank you very much.
Funny enough, I had 9:15 on my diary, but I thought on the back of the mind, I thought it's 9:30.
No problem. It's okay. Peter, just I was started talking to the team, and they are waiting for your message. And the conference title, you know that it is on sustainable infrastructure, technology,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
environment, which is your area. And
yeah,
then,
yeah.
I mean, the entire participants are online and looking forward for you. So
Okay,
let me introduce to the team who are here. And thank
okay.
you very much for joining us this morning,
Yeah,
Dr.
that's all
Peter.
right. That's all right.
Yeah.
That's all right.
Uh,
That's all right.
so, the dear team members, Dr. Peter is here, and who is the expert in quantity surveying, and he was working in land securities in the past, and he is a successful consultant in the UK. He's also a member in the FRCI. Please give him a big applause and welcome Dr. Peter. Dr. Peter. Dr. Peter, over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Allah. Thanks, everybody. As Allah said, my name is Peter Gombera. Well, I'm a resident of the UK. I'm a British citizen, but originally I'm from Zimbabwe. My background is civil engineering. I qualified as a civil engineer. I was working in Southern Africa on what we call the build to operate transfer, which are called the PPP, which Allah is alluded to, which are infrastructure projects. These infrastructure projects mainly to do with supporting good governance and economic prosperity for any given country. Without infrastructure, there is no prosperity because effectively there's lack of network, there's lack of coordination. But however, at the time, I think given rightly fitting the topic we're talking about, which is sustainability, sustainable infrastructure, most of the infrastructure which has been built has been in inverted commas sustainable. But actually, if you look at the green credentials, I don't think the focus has been there. So what we're now dealing with is what we call a net carbon zero economy or a net zero economy, where including when you look at the supply chain itself, we're looking at everything else that comes in, whether it's upstream or downstream, to make sure that it's actually carbon neutral, and there's a cost of carbon whenever you either provide services or you deliver building projects. So effectively, when you look at these big projects, you tend to find that they tend to emit a lot of my apologies, I couldn't move. They tend to emit a lot of energy. But however, that said, in terms of the cycle of design, build, and construction and advisory, you find that naturally most of these projects have got advisors, and in the past most projects have never had a sustainability and a carbon consultant. So what we're now moving into is, having moved from Africa, as I said, I came to the UK. I've done a number of large capital projects where the driver of the projects has been primarily infrastructure, for example, hospitals, roads, and real estate. But I mainly focus on the real estate element as well as critical facilities. My current role at the moment is I'm a fund manager for a large defense company, which does critical infrastructure for the MOD, which is the UK government, as well as some international sovereigns. So going back to the topic we are talking about, infrastructure, I think one needs to think about how do we build and embed a good carbon conscious strategy as we develop large infrastructure. It's too late for any designer to start talking about carbon without actually thinking about the idea. So what's now happening is, because of the environmental impact across the world, not just in the UK or in Malaysia, anyway, the climate change has become a real focus for everybody. So most organizations and most corporations are now having a strategy for what we call a carbon strategy or climate change strategy, just to make sure that when we talk about ideas, whether goods and services, or the installation of goods and services, or building new capital projects, or using OPEX, which are the existing projects, we'll have to factor in from an asset management. We have to factor in a net zero, right? So how does it impact the built environment? The built environment is the largest contributor of CO2 in the world. It contributes about 40 to 60% of the CO2, because all the built assets have there's a lot of manufacturing, there's a lot of installation, there's a lot of products that are actually not sustainable. So one of the things that we need to deal with when you talk about the built environment, just to be clear, Ala, is we're talking about two things. We're talking about the existing projects, which are legacy projects, which are existing assets. Those ones, our influence is fairly limited because they're already existing structure. What we now need to talk about is retrofitting goods, energy reduction tools or energy reduction policies around retrofitting, solar, or any renewable or green renewables that you can put on existing buildings, with the view that ultimately it's as a disposal of the asset. If you're an organization, you might as well dispose that asset. So from a reporting perspective, you won't be able to report about the carbon credentials of the asset, but it does not take away the fact that those assets have got to be really managed in the right way. If I take you back to what Ala was talking about when I was my current role in my previous role with land securities and all the real estate investors and landlords, their view has been mainly driven by investment returns without considering the climate change and the climate impact. Now, what the government are now trying to do is actually, there's a cost of carbon, whether it's aviation, whether it's built environment, you have to calculate the cost of carbon. And sooner or later, I can predict that most governments will be putting a tax on carbon for every project that you're doing or every services that are provided. Therefore, that becomes a punitive measure, if you like, for people not to take on projects without thinking about it. But actually, it shouldn't be like that. The carbon culture or the carbon reduction culture should be natural. So that's on the asset management. If we want to unwind back, we look at the new builds. The new builds, there's no reason whatsoever for any professional in the built environment not to think about carbon, because you're starting from scratch. So you've got an inception of an idea, and that idea has to be taken through design and build and everything like that. So where do we see ourselves in the future going? We are now saying actually everything we need to do has got to be centered around a net zero or climate change strategy. That means for the built environment, we now need to move to become green experts. Everybody, right? Whether architect, quantity surveyor, builder, everybody is going to get green credentials. By that I mean that every time when you propose an idea, you have to think about the cost and benefit of that idea from a sustainability perspective. So when you look at it at the present moment, the way the carbon reporting works is that we have got scope 2. Scope 2 is scope 1 and scope 2 are pretty much capturing the things that, what we call greenhouse emissions, the things that, we can identify on a building and everything. Scope 3 means basically you're capturing all the supply chain, including the people that you are actually insourcing or outsourcing things. Scope 3 is the most difficult thing to do. I just give you an example where we are at a company I work for, Kinetic. Our target is 60% carbon reduction by 2025 to 2030. That's a really challenging. The UK government's target is net zero by 2050, right? We're now seeing that not just the built environment, everything's now automated. So the next wave for the built environment experts is very simple. Everybody is now going on what we call digitalization and automation. So it's now a game of ideas, it's a game of expertise, and it's a game of actually being smart. So we're now moving into smart thinking, smart installation of goods, smart automation of assets. A good example, if I can make, if you look at in a building or in any infrastructure, we've got what we call a BMS, which is a building management system, right? What the building management system does from a design perspective, it talks to every single element of the building. It tells you how much energy each building is using and how much its performance is. So by that, you can actually adjust. It's like in a car, when you take it for MOT, when the mechanics take off the car, they'll look at the car management system that tells them everything. Even when you're driving it, the garage knows exactly where you're going up and down. So that's what we're moving towards. But actually, the step before that is one that requires every built environment professional to think about sustainability, to think about how best, to mitigate the environment. As we have seen in New York just yesterday, the whole New York has never been flooded, but it's now flooded, right? We're seeing the reverse effects. Africa used to be dry. It's not. There's now disaster after disaster about flooding. That tells you that climate change is real. And the rate at which the global warming is taking place is actually unbelievable. But we have a duty to protect this future and also the future after this future for our children and our future, grandchildren. So how does it impact us as professionals? I've been in the UK for 30 years now, and I've never seen a push towards sustainability that I'm seeing now. Everywhere you go, even flying, there's a tax. Every people are now conscious. Do you need to fly? Or do you need to do anything differently? A good example is in the past, this is a real good example for professionals, building professionals. We've always said everything's done in a building, right? If you can take this point. Gone are the days where everything is done in a building. We're now talking of distributed working, smart working. You can work from home. and everything else. So most organizations and most building owners are now reducing the amount of footprint they've got. That said, there are certain things that you can't do from home, but majority of things can be done from home. If you look at healthcare buildings, are now changing the way of building healthcare. If you look at labs and clean rooms and data centers, we're now doing what I call smart technologies, flexible labs, where a lab can be this big, tomorrow is an office space, the next day is something else. So that tells you that things are changing from a property and construction life cycle. Effectively, where we are heading to is the ability for human beings to think about the process as change agents. So the takeaway word I would like to leave with you all today is change. Built environment has moved from being professionals. If you continue to be a professional, you end up becoming a technocrat. But if you become a strategic change manager, that means basically you're now facilitating change. Everything you do, you identify change drivers, and then you manage those change drivers to make sure that we have got clean, good, renewable buildings. Even if you look at the technology, technology can go so far, but it's about the mindset of all of us as professionals to make sure that we make a real change that lasts, and also be selfishless in terms of how we do things. I think the built environment has got the most selfish people you can ever find, because every time you think of an idea, you want to put a structure. Sometimes you don't need a structure, as I say. You just need to work differently. I used to globetrot. If I give you my good example, in my role, I did in the UK, I do about 50,000 miles driving all the way through. But if you ask yourself, during this COVID, I've driven maybe less than 2,000 miles because I've been doing things remotely. But at the same time, I've not been using buildings because buildings have been shut everywhere. If you look at London per se, the office market has been decimated. Retail has been decimated. What is now happening is, from a design perspective, if you find a built environment expert who says build a brand new shopping mall, he's crazy. Tell him to go away. It's never going to happen. Now people are shopping through Amazon, online, and multi-omnibus channels of doing things. So as we go forward, we're thinking about how best we use our expertise and knowledge as built environment experts. And therefore, if you think about engineers, if you think about quantity surveyors, I think you are seeing a new generation of sustainable building management, if you like, or business management, if you like, where people become more sustainable in the way they do things. And people also look at what is the most important thing, what we call supply chain custody. It means you are able to track the product, the asset, where it's actually come from, and what is life journey through the supply chain, upstream or downstream, to make sure that actually is sustainable. Therefore, you're going to find a new way of thinking. Things that are carbon emitting, all those projects will suddenly start to die as we go forward. So that's where we are as far as I can see things. But I think in Malaysia, you've got a very strong, what will make us different in the next generation of competition of ideas, as well as business growth and development, is all about our ability to think smart and our ability to use knowledge. So human capital is now key towards driving change and serving the human race. That's where I stop, Alla, and hopefully it's a thought-provoking thought. Sorry, I can't hear you. I think I think you're mute. I can't hear you. You're mute.
Okay, thank you, Peter. Sorry, I didn't notice that I muted this one. Over to you, Noor Farahain. Thank you very much, Dr. Peter.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Prof. Alla and Dr. Peter, for this interesting speech. I hope all will be benefit by this speech. So, without further ado, I would like to call upon Prof. Alla to present the e-certificate of appreciation to our guests today. Please welcome, Prof. Alla.
Thank you. This is the little bit the least thing we are doing for you, Peter. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much.
No.
Lovely words. You're always a great friend. Peter.
No. Alla, unfortunately, I've got a number of meetings, but I'll leave everybody with this thought. I am African, and I'm proud to be African. And one of the things that will make us different, where it matters as human beings, is that in Africa we've got a good saying that says there's so many ways. Listen to this. There's so many ways to get to the mountain top, which is Kilimanjaro. But when you get to the top, the view is always the same, right?
Yep.
What it means
Yeah.
is that everybody is coming from different, all ideas. We're all a bundle
Yes.
of possibilities. But when we get to
Yes.
the top of the mountain view, when you look downwards, we all see the same. So we are all
Yep.
heading toward the right direction. So that's
Yes.
that's
Yes.
really powerful. And thank you.
Well said. Brilliant words, my friend. Thank you very much.
Okay,
You always a
cheers.
good friend. You always helpful to us, and the MAHSA is very proud today for your presence and the valuable words. We are looking forward again for more interaction with you, Dr.
Yeah,
Peter.
yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Too
yeah, yeah, yeah.
much.
God bless you, Allah. And everybody.
Thank
I'll
you.
see you soon. Yes, thank you.
See you. See you. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you again. I hope that we meet again in the future if destiny permits. Now, we are at the peak of ceremony, the one that everybody is waiting for, the award giving ceremony. So there are four awards for My Site 2021, which are Best Presenter Award for every parallel session. So without further ado, I would like to invite Ms. Shanthi, the Equal Coordinator for Faculty of Engineering and Built Environment, MAHSA University, to present the award. With all respect, please welcome.
Thank you, Ms. Farah. Ladies and gentlemen, now it's time to announce the four best presenter in poll. And here we go.
Sorry, audience, there's some problems with the connection. Yes, Ms. Shanti, can you give the awards now? We experienced some technical issue now here. Okay, so without further ado, I would like to invite Dr. Iman, the Dean of Faculty of Built Environment and Engineering and Built Environment, to give some speech. Please welcome Dr. Iman.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Farah. Sorry for technical issue. Once again, I think just now I will present the awards on behalf of Ms. Shanti. Just we proceed for the awards now. Okay, the Best Presenter Award going to Miss Noor Rashida Benti Ahmed for the presentation on comparative study on P-wave velocity analysis at present for Putrajaya, Malaysia. Congratulations, Miss Noor Rashida. The Best Presenter Award going to Miss Shanti for the presentation on the title of Smart Home Technology and Exploration of Model Classic Family in Malaysia. Congratulations, Miss Shanti. The Best Presenter Award going to Mr. Shazwan Ben Sharuddin for the effect of underground rice house towards green concrete containing Lega. Congratulations, Mr. Shazwan. And the Best Presenter Award going to Ms. Farahain Benti Muhammad for the efficiency of portable water filter design, competitive using a small grain sizes. Congratulations, Ms. Farahain.
Thank
Okay, thanks.
you.
Thank you, and congratulations to all the winners and presenters. Once again, I would like to thank all for the presentings. The best papers for this conference. I hope that all of you had a productive day, enjoy the day today, and we had a great speech from our great speakers and special guests. Once again, thank you everyone, and hope you had the best time. Stay safe and good luck. Please, Miss Farah.
Thank you, Dr. Iman. Congratulations, winners. Others, you can try again next year. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, next, let us welcome Mr. Sharonee bin Sidek, the conference chair for MAHSA 2021 conference, MAHSA University, for his closing speech. With all respect, please welcome, sir. Mr. Sharonee, please welcome again and unmute your sound. Thank you. Sorry again, maybe there's some technical issue there from Mr. Sharonee. So I will invite again Mr. Sharonee bin Sidek, our chairman today, for give a speech. With all respect, please welcome, sir. And don't forget to unmute your sound.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Ms. Safara. Sorry for the technical problems. Congratulations to all the winners. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and very good evening to all of you. Today has been a wonderful and amazing day as we have successfully had our MAHSA conference 2021 with the theme Sustainable Environment and Green Technology towards IR 4.0. As the chairman of this conference, I would like to take this opportunity to express my deep appreciations to Professor Dr. Ikram Shah, our Vice Chancellor, Dr. Iman Farshid, Dean, Faculty of Engineering and Built Environment, and Professor Dr. Sri Kumar Chakrawati for their motivational and inspirational speeches during opening ceremony. And special thanks goes to our keynote speaker, Professor Dr. Architect Abdul Malik Abdul Rahman, for sharing his extensive research and his eye-opening presentations. The topic is very relevant as we embrace the future challenges ahead. Special thanks also goes to our guest speaker, Dr. Peter Gombera, Group Head of Global Real Estate from UK, for his insightful closing address. Furthermore, I would like to especially thank Prof. Alla, Dr. Guna, Ms. Teo and her team at MACOM for their wonderful support to make this event successful. To all faculty members, the Dean, Deputy Dean, Head of Department, Program Coordinator, all lecturers from Faculty of Engineering, thank you again for your tremendous support. Lastly, I would like to sincerely thank Prof. Shariq for continuous guidance, Ms. Rashida and Ms. Farah for doing their wonderful jobs as MC, Azima for her dedications and great assistance as Secretariat, Kaya for her contributions, Dr. Husni, Ms. Shanthi, and to the rest of the committee, your support and cooperation has been valuable. To all the paper presenters, thank you for your wonderful presentations. To the rest of participants, students, and the listeners, thank you for joining MAHSA 2021 conference It has been great to have you in the conference. Thank you all. Have a great day. Peace be to you all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, and congratulations for wonderful events. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, as the saying goes, with every beginning there is an ending. And now, my site 2021 has come to its end. Once again, thank you everyone for gracing our ceremony with your presence, and we really appreciate it. On behalf of MAHSA University, I wish all of you good luck in your future endeavor. Everyone, thank you for joining this online conference. Inshallah, hope to see you again in next My Side conference. I'm Noor Farahain. Until next time, thank you.